The Complete Voodoo, Volume 1, Part 2, Issues 4, 5, and 6. Greetings, friends. Today we're looking at more Voodoo pre-code horror comics goodness from Ajax Farrell. And we are starting off with the second half of this book. In the last part, we took a look at issues 1, 2, and 3. So we're starting off with issue number 4 with the fine Iger shop cover. Don't dim the lights. We've a rendezvous. And this is Voodoo number 4 from 1952. And right off the bat, we have the Drums of Doom with unmistakable art by the great Matt Baker. Once again, they were taking some 1940s jungle comics and also putting them into issues of Voodoo. This is one of them, Drums of Doom. Our jungle girl in action, right there, as only Matt Baker could draw her. And much like Robert Webb, Matt Baker loved to do circular panels as well. Now, as far as the story is concerned, the Drums of Doom, at comics.org, there's an indexer note which says, I suspect this story was originally drawn in the 1940s as a South Sea Girl story intended for Seven Seas Comics. It was probably re-lettered from a new script to make it more of a horror story. Certainly the last few panels of the story were redrawn by a different artist for a horror ending. And they're indicating these last panels here. Next up we have the Crawling Horror. And as it indicates below, artist unknown, I'm going to say this is also Robert Webb doing the art here. Once again, his faces are rather distinctive. Because Iger Shop was a factory, it's possible that they had a letterist that did the graphic titles as well as the lettering, but it looks very Robert Webb to me. The ritual chants of a forgotten tongue created a nightmare of blood and madness for the people of Yucatan, and brought back a scourge that had slumbered under crumbling stones for 1,000 years. The Crawling Horror. There's a Robert Webb girl right there. Tom, look behind you. And there's the serpent, eating some hapless victims. Now, because this is not a facsimile, and they do not have the original ads or prose stories in this, what would have been here would have been a 2-page story called The Jewels of Death. And then we go to Thief of Souls. Artist unknown. Once back in the shadows of time, there lived a greedy king. Lust had etched his face and made spider hollows of his eyes. From his torture chambers came the dying screams of those he had pillaged and forgotten. Now it happened that this king had a beautiful young wife, but thereby hangs the tale of the bleeding ruby. Thief of Souls. The reproductions here are very sharp. I think Yo Books, IDW, Craig Yo, they did a great job maintaining quality control for these books. And you have to keep in mind that these pages in reality are a little larger than what would have originally been in the comic books, because this is magazine size. So they have been able to enlarge the images. And the colors are really clean and sharp. And the last story in issue number 4 is Beasts of the Bog. Beneath the dank and steaming Irish bogs lay vengeance, patient and horrible, waiting for the moment to crawl out of the slime and strike. Beasts of the Bog. Nice. Nice panel. And now we move on to Voodoo number 5. January 1953. Iger Shop cover. Ghoul for a Day. I just want to point out as well that if you're interested in reading any of these stories, the 2 best places to go are Digital Comic Museum and comicbookplus.com. Corpses of the Jury. Art by Iger Shop. There they sat, this spectral jury, passing a horrible judgment on the beast of the torture camps, the human fiend who had sent them to the corpse pit. That's really quite a splash page, if you look at it. Because you have this guy, he's in the pit with the dead, all the people that he killed in this concentration camp. And you have this poor woman who's dead, hanging. That's a pretty powerful splash page. Once again, a lot of circular, semicircular panels. I'm going to guess that at the very least, Robert Webb laid these things out. Nice panel there. Seize him, treat him as he treated us. You all know what to do. Very cool here. With the dead. He's getting his just desserts. Yeah, they're gonna skin him. And on the wall is left a grisly, red dripping thing. Skinned alive. Next up we have Deathlight with art by Iger. What was it that reached out from the brooding waters to drag screaming men off to unknown depths? What curse was affixed to the beacon that meant caution to ships, but doom to those who tended it? Was there a sane answer to the grim riddle of the Deathlight? Nice. I love it when they do these solid tones on the panels. There's a little Robert Webb face right there. Oh yeah. Next up in Voodoo number 5, we have Ghoul for a Day. What a splash page. Cynthia Morse was an average, ordinary woman. She wanted the things that most such women want. A home, love, children. But somewhere a demon laughed, and she was doomed by the caprice of mad fate. A terrible story of human frustration, this tale of the Undertaker's wife. The spiteful spirit, a miasma of death and decay, like the rank odor of rotting flesh, hung over the house of Corinth. There was madness in the very air, and to add to the terror was the unrelenting specter of the jealous ghost. Once again, art by Iger. Yeah, here we go with Voodoo number 6, with another great cover by Iger. Ghoul's Bride. The Weird Dead, February of 1953. And we start off with The Weird Dead. Weird gods, bloody and terrible, ruled in ancient Mexico when the Aztecs held sway. And some men say that the old gods are not dead, but still roam the night and murder whom they choose. There are even rumors that the human sacrifice is not a forgotten thing. But ask Matt Barstow, a greedy man who would dare anything for gold. It was he who met the feathered serpent. The Weird Dead. Crunch! That is sweet. Oh yeah, the feathered serpent is having a field day here. Just chomping on everybody. Next up we have Ghoul's Bride. Her beauty was truly only skin deep, for within her beat the evil heart of a killer. And when she faced her inevitable doom, she schemed to escape by marrying death. With art by Iger. This whole thing looks very much like Robert Webb art. Love this panel. That is so great. God, it's almost reminiscent of, something you would see in the late 60s, early 70s underground comics. I love this transformation. And next we have Killer Lady. He was handsome, but she was the devil. Out of the jungle she came, a smoldering cruelty in her eyes. And it was not until it was too late that he found out that the vain die young. This freaking bat carrying his severed head as he runs after it. That is something of a splash page, folks. Well, in the end, she does get the head. Nice ghoulish little panel right there with the severed head dripping blood. Mine at last. After all the struggle, the most beautiful I've ever seen. And the last story, in issue 6, Lilla Simmons was almost through her studies of antiquity. There was one more subject to investigate, the occult. And this subject was to cost Lila her life, because she had to go beyond academic bounds She had to experiment with the black sciences. Leela knew she was dabbling with death, but she wanted to know the black future. Now, it does say artist unknown here. This is definitely not Robert Webb. No doubt about that. I have no idea who it is. Perhaps a filler artist or a young artist they just gave the job to. Nice. The back interior covers. Lovely blow up of a Robert Webb head. Zombie pirate here. Very well done. Great, great blow ups. I love these. And our man, publisher Robert Farrell, gracing the back cover. And there you are, folks. I hope you enjoyed this look at the complete VOODOO Volume 1, Part 2. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.